Right, another edition of what's the name of the show? Oh yeah, Draped and Gold, NXT and NXT UK. Flobo boys here. You know, I was talking to my co-host backstage. I realized he does a lot, man. You may find him out whether you're in Southern California or just traveling the world. He's everywhere and doing all the bunch of things. Please welcome the #1 commentator and ring announcer and MC and DJ on the planet, Jack Farmer.
You are far too kind. So glad to be here. So glad to be back. And like the fans, I'm glad to be here and glad to be back. Very cool show today on NXT UK. I know we'll talk all about it, but Flobo, how are you doing this evening?
I'm glad you asked because I got a very special thing in the mail today. Check us out. It's the United Kingdom Championship, baby.
If only Roderick Strong knew it was that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Shop Zone. What are you doing?
Oh my goodness, you've got that. You got to I want to see it side by side with the other one you have.
I might do that next week because it's way bigger. I have to like move my awards around. I mean, that's how
that is such a pretty looking belt.
Oh, it's a WWE one too. It isn't the NXT UK one. So I'll definitely put pictures of that on social. But other than that, man, I'm good, man. I'm so glad that you rock with me. I know daylight savings time for the United States, British Standard Time is still standard because they have their daylight time the first week of April. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to be a little hour later. But what about you, man? What are you working on?
Man, speaking of just the time, by the way, in the chat, as it says, Happy St. Patrick's Day. This is the day of my people, the Irish people.
You got people?
Ireland does not claim me, by the way. But
imagine they did.
But
Colin Farrell, Jack Farmer.
I think it's funny, the whole time change thing. Like the whole world got together and agreed on time zones. We're like, hey, we can agree on that. Like, what about daylight savings? Nah, nope, can't do it.
They can't agree on time zones. You can look at the map of where time zones are. Some of them are just so jagged, they're crazy. Little Matthews, oi! Welcome to the show. And of course, Kristen Marie, she has downloaded my new song, Money Shuffle, another stupid song from the mind of Alone, the club, available now wherever you listen to your songs. Please, if you hate it, don't tell me.
It's a great song. Everyone should listen to it. I'm gonna, by the way, plug, you can check it out on my social media. I was on Who's the Ross, a talk show you can see on Twitch. You got to go find the link on Twitch, but it is just the zaniest, goofiest show you could ever imagine. So much fun. We have a game where it interacts with the audience, and all the game is they take random Nicolas Cage clips, and you have to guess what movie they're from based on the way he freaks out. And it's just the whole show is just, it reminds me very much of a combination of season 1 of Conan and the Pee Wee Herman show is what I would describe it as.
A ringing endorsement, and I'm always here for the Wicker Man. Let's not the base. Let's get to it. Our main event was Wolfgang against Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong got the King's welcome. He looked like a big deal. Take note of that, A-Kid. We'll get to that a little bit later. Wolfgang, known as the Regulator, aka the last King of Scotland, tried as he might, but Gallus Boys once again was not on top. But Jack, the main thing here is after the match, Roderick Strong calls out a certain champion.
America, America,
yeah,
America.
Yeah. What's up, baby?
Could we be on the verge of seeing the first ever American champion in NXT UK?
Oh,
so
man.
Proud of Roderick Strong just taking the fight to the UK and really showing that American swagger around there.
You're a heel. You're such a heel. but let's not discount Wolfgang quite yet. I mean, it was a valid match. It could have gone either way because Wolfgang is pretty formidable. But I think Nigel basically said he's going to lose this one. He called himself the entry gatekeeper to his other promotions as well. The match sounds pretty solid, right?
It was a great match, and Wolfgang's no slouch. The win here, the reason that Roderick Strong is able to challenge for a title after one win is because of just how tough that win was to come by, going up against someone like Wolfgang.
So
I know I've said before, Gallus has its issues, and I know we're going to probably get into that, but Wolfgang is no slouch. That is a tough win. And it wasn't just that Roderick Strong won. The fact that Roderick Strong, as the much smaller person, found a way to control this match in so many different ways. Roderick Strong is so talented. I'm actually glad he came to the NXT UK so that he had a chance to show what he could do on his own without anyone around him. Because so much of his time in NXT had been either around the Undisputed Era or Diamond Mine. But now he's there on his own, getting big wins and showing just how talented he really is. I thought this was a really great showcase for both men, but obviously for Roderick Strong.
Well, we talk about Ilya Dragunov sitting on top of that perch pretty alone. I mean, there isn't a clear number one contender. Rampage Brown is still on the shelf. Roderick Strong may have the fast pass to a title matchup. Unbesiegbar has put down a lot of individuals, but why does Roderick Strong in the United Kingdom hit different, Jack?
Imagine being someone who has a match with someone like Gunther and then says to themselves, I'm going to go over to NXT UK and get myself a little bit more of that. You've got to have a competitive edge that is just unrivaled. And I think someone like Roderick Strong presents a combination of skills that Dragunov hasn't had to really prepare for in the past. He's always gone against guys that either are very hard hitters or just faster or technical, but Roderick Strong combines those things with something that a lot of his other opponents haven't had, and that is experience. The fact that Roderick Strong has been wrestling for so long and in so many other places. Guys like A-Kid, I guess on paper, may match up in a lot of ways to Roderick Strong. Guys like Jordan Devlin may match up to a Roderick Strong, but I think Roderick Strong's experience level is what makes him a bit more dangerous than any of those other guys that I just mentioned.
Dylan Matthews in the chat asks, if Roddy does the unthinkable, can he last on his own? Or does he get a UK Diamond Mine? I think it'll be an Imperium situation where he'll be on his own, I would assume, but then it's understood there's another half to this equation, especially with that other recruit. What's her name? Tatum Paxley and stuff like that. I think Diamond Mine's still growing on stateside if Roderick Strong stays in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And Lamb says Roderick Strong just fits in NXT UK. Happy to have him on the show.
Yeah, NXT UK, it's I've said before, it's such a great example of just the best and toughest and most incredible wrestlers in a place representing their home countries, not in a over the top way, but you just get to see these different styles and different people from different parts of the world. I truly believe NXT UK is a glimpse into what the future of what the WWE looks like, and not from a quote unquote developmental standpoint, but just because I think they're ahead of the curve on what people are going to be looking for in wrestling globally very soon.
Well, that is something good. You hadn't mentioned it before. Gallus boys, looks like Mark Coffey and Joe Coffey had a little bit of a tiss and tussle in front of Sid's 30th office, it seems like. Heritage Cup implications. Mark Coffey's looking for a chance, but Joe seems kind of upset that he doesn't get this rematch. What's going on there, Jack?
This is something I've been talking about for a long time. This is something that I've been telling you about. The cracks are becoming splinters, are becoming fractures, are becoming just giant gaping holes in the foundation. Everyone could see that when Mark Coffey got that opportunity to have a Heritage Cup match, which I think we all agree is a fair thing to do. Mark Coffey, we've been talking about as someone who could potentially be the leader of Gallus. When Joe Coffey heard that, didn't seem super excited about it. Didn't seem super thrilled that Mark was going to be getting the title shot. And this could go two ways. Well, it could go three ways. Mark could lose and it won't matter. But if Mark wins, it could go two ways. It could be a chance for Mark Coffey to lead Gallus in a new direction, to start building it back up from the ground up and help refocus and make a better, stronger Gallus. It could also be that final thing that pulls that team apart and fractures and destroys it forever. It's going to be a fascinating match to watch one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm here too. I actually have that here. This could be the end of Gallus because it doesn't matter if they were winning every single match on the planet. The moment where the Iron King feels slighted is something that's going to be something you have to deal with. But unlike Persia Parada and Indy Hartwell, they won't walk down to the ring together. Weird. We'll get to that in a bit. But Speaking of,
I'd like them to, so they could sing along with the song. Yeah.
Just high-fiving each other way over there. Dallas boy. Let's talk about this women's division, man. We got two matches in the women's division this week. Both saying two different things. Start off with one of my favorites, Stevie Turner, against the official wrestler of NXT, draped in gold, Aaliyah James. Look, man, fourth dimension against NXT the official superstar. I thought this would be Stevie Turner's run. I thought she'd be the presumptive number one contender after Isla Dawn, but Aaliyah James thankfully gets the roll up to somehow break the ever broken women's standings here in this promotion. Jack, what goes on now? Does Aaliyah James find somebody else? Does Stevie Turner look for comeuppance? What's going on?
Almost as elusive as the title itself is momentum in the women's division in NXT UK. It seems as soon as someone really starts to get going, something happens that derails them completely. And you're right, Stevie Turner had a lot of momentum. She seemed like someone who's about to get going again, but Aaliyah James, as we say, the official NXT draped in gold wrestler, getting probably one of her biggest wins to date in her career. I know we throw that around, but I was thinking about it. I don't know if she has a bigger win than this. And it's been cool to watch her grow as a wrestler, and especially a win against a wildly talented Stevie Turner. Hard fought match. And I think that the fact that she got a win over Stevie Turner, not just because Stevie Turner is great, but the fact that Stevie Turner has beaten Aaliyah James in the past made this one just a little sweeter than a normal victory for Aaliyah James.
And I'm biased because we want more West Indian wrestlers on TV. Lamb says, Aaliyah James, if you think Stevie Turner is not just 4D, like, I couldn't call it. Not to say that I didn't trust and believe in Aaliyah James' skills. I just thought that would have been an opportunity for Stevie Turner to hit a new gear, which I'm glad it didn't happen because now we have a rogues gallery waiting to see what happens after this contest. Isla Dawn has officially challenged Meiko Satomura for the NXT Women's Championship with a chilling promo, according to our own Dylan Matthews in the chat here. Meiko Satomura, final boss, but this one here is a little bit different because even though she's beat Isla Dawn before, this one's like a supernatural, supercharged Isla Dawn.
Yeah, as our Australian correspondent Dylan Matthews says, it was a chilling video package, and I think she said it. I think she said it right there in the package. She's going to become the next NXT UK champion by beating Meiko Satomura. So far, Isla Dawn, everything she's wanted, everything she's needed, she has been able to acquire. Every step along the way, she has found a way to get it, and we were all distracted by the fact that sometimes wins weren't happening, sometimes losses were happening, but she wasn't worried about the wins and losses the whole time. She was worried about getting the things she needed to get where she needed to be, and she got all those things, and now she's missing one last thing. And if I look back, Meiko Satomura, has she defended the title every time? Yes, but Isla Dawn, every time she said she's wanted something, has also been able to acquire it, and I don't think that trend is going to stop. I think she's going to get that title, and I think Isla Dawn is going to be the next NXT UK champion.
That is a bold take, but definitely not a crazy one at the same time. And there's no one that has momentum in a division that seemingly is hard to get than Isla Dawn. But on the other side,
I would never, real quick, I would never argue with witchcraft. So.
How can you argue with witchcraft?
I mean, if someone shows up and is like, I have supernatural powers, I'm going to say, I believe you. Leave me alone, please.
He said to everybody, yes. Hey, Jack, I believe you. Leave me alone. Our other match in women's division actually has a bit of a connecting tissue. I think Amelia McKenzie's still hanging out with Meiko, although that hasn't been happening over the past couple of weeks due to Satomura's injury. Against Nina Samuels, one of Jack's favorites, needs more Nina, but it was Amelia McKenzie's chance to have a second win in a row and a second loss for the show.
Andy Shepard, friend of the show, he said during this match that Nina Samuel sees herself as a performer, a singer, an actor, a broadcaster, as well as a wrestler. And I disagree with that. I don't think she sees herself that way. I think everyone sees her as a performer, as an actor, as a broadcaster, as a singer. Everyone sees her as a multi-talented, generational entertainer. Amelia, on the other hand, she's spent a year now trying to learn to be just a pro wrestler under Meiko Satomura. And she got the win. Yes. And everyone's excited. Amelia McKenzie, she got a win. Good for her after training with one of the best of all time for a year. She won. Good for her. But, and by the way, it is good for her. I'm happy for her. She got a big win. I don't mean
Can't
to put
tell.
that down. But I look back and I try to think of the way we celebrate people who are comparable to a Nina Samuels, right? And we're not giving Nina Samuels the credit she deserves. The first person I think of as a comparable person to compare her to when I'm thinking about performer, actor, singer, all these other things is Bad Bunny. And I think that she was so much better than Bad Bunny at WrestleMania tonight.
Stop.
We need to give her the credit that she deserves. This was a better than Bad Bunny performance from an equally talented superstar.
What show are you watching?
NXT UK.
Fair enough, man. I walked right to that one. I'm just saying, man. She is not going to be compared with Bad Bunny. First of all, Bad Bunny's a part-timer. Second of all, Nina Samuels should be on top of the charts according to Jack Farmer, but she's still at that bottom. Again, someone who should have been easy to dispatch. Didn't happen for today, though.
You were absolutely right. And I didn't even think about that. Bad Bunny is a part-timer. The fact that Nina Samuels can do all the same things and be a full-time competitor really shows just how driven she is to be successful at everything.
Why is the chat trolling me right now? Give Nina a WrestleMania match. For what? Okay, moving on. I got to move on. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. Speaking of things that makes no sense to me, Wild Boar wants a match against Eddie Dennis because Eddie Dennis was the guy that cut him out the group. But Eddie Dennis goes, "Oh, not me. I can't fight. I'm a manager. Please send Primate." That was a quote. What's going on with that, Jack?
One, Wild Boar is terrifying. And after seeing him speak today, I agree with Eddie Dennis. There's no way they should put him in a match with Eddie Dennis. Wild Boar needs to calm down just a little bit, don't you think? Seems a little heated. Maybe
he should be
10 deep breaths and realize that you don't get a match with someone the caliber of Eddie Dennis by just asking for it.
Yeah,
exactly. Are you out of your mind? I mean, I'd like a match with The Rock. Thank you very much. Come on. That's not how it works. You've got to earn the match. You've got to find a way to deserve the match. I mean, Eddie Dennis, he, of course, was being very professional and diplomatic about it, trying not to embarrass Wild Boar by being like, guy, I mean, you need to earn your right to fight me. He was being very professional. I think Eddie Dennis was really cool about that. But, yeah, Wild Boar can't just go face one of the top people in NXT UK just because he asks for it.
Eddie didn't even say that. It wasn't like I would love to beat him, but he's like, no, I'm not. I am such a wuss. I won't fight for my own honor. I'm picking this guy to fight for me. I mean, that's exactly what happened there. Sid's 35th closet of an office.
Well, what Eddie Dennis was doing, like I said, he's just the perfect example of a professional. One, wearing beautiful green scarf and tie on St. Patrick's Day. Very well done. Looking amazing. But also, again, he didn't want to embarrass Wild Boar. I mean, what someone who's a little less professional, a little more callous would have done is said, hey, I'm big time. He's little fish to me. But he was being professional. He's being nice. And he's like, I'm a manager. Let's let him earn a few shots first. I think that's what happened there. I think the idea of T-Bone versus Wild Boar is what we all want to see. T-Bone, Wild Boar, T-Bone,
They were passing chips. They had nothing to do with each other. He's got a new job. Guy just answers an ad in the paper. You want to see that match? Are you kidding me?
I was going to argue about the answering an ad in a paper thing, but last week we did find that everyone in the UK still reads print media. So you might be correct.
Top of the show today is my boy Oliver Carter against Tyler Bate in a match that I really appreciated. I kind of felt the hype there with the crowd live chanting. I do miss them. It seems like Oliver Carter gets the first one in this really non-tentacle side quest. Mustache Mountain is put ready and forward on, but so far they want to know.
Yeah, this was a night. I said it on Twitter. This was a night of big wins and big victories for people. Aaliyah James, one of them. The other one, starting things off, Oliver Carter. This was an impressive win for Oliver Carter, and I say that with nothing but praise. And the fact that Tyler Bate, obviously one of the faces of NXT UK, the first Triple Crown champion, someone who is considered one of the most unbeatable people in NXT UK. And when this match started, it was a great matchup to begin with, but I thought this was Tyler Bate's match, not only because, frankly, he's the favorite, let's be honest here, but also I thought with the crowd there and the people cheering, I know Tyler Bate's a little bit more zen. He's a little bit more focused. I thought he was going to be able to drown out everything that was happening around him and be in the match, where I thought Oliver Carter might have gotten carried away in it all. But it was the opposite. I think Oliver Carter was able to actually harness that energy and really put on a great match. I was already saying if he loses, I was going to say this was a standout performance for him. But the fact that he had a standout performance and won, I think this was just an incredible day for him, and he did himself a ton of favors. Oliver Carter really opened some eyes today.
Well, he's my MVP already. Lock it in.
Yeah,
I'm not biased at all.
No, you're very biased. I have to deal with that every week, and you're just inane focusing on your favorites. But I'm able to call it down the middle. I think I bring us a little bit more back to center. This was a good performance by him.
All right, let's head over to 2.0.
It's a little unfortunate Ashton Smith couldn't keep his hands to himself on the outside, but
he was defending the out.
That's a different thing.
NXT 2.0 is on the docket. Any last words about NXT UK before I move on?
No.
Okay. Just Kenny Williams is still a total cockroach. All right, NXT 2.0 is...
I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
I was like, whoa.
There goes our awards now. NXT 2.0 is totally doing this whole main roster on their off day vibe. I'm digging it. I'm loving it. But let's talk about the bridge here. A-Kid finally makes his debut. Finally, it was 1 week of promo, but he makes his debut on NXT 2.0 against Kushida. One of my favorites, but has pretty much been conscripted to level up. The match itself was solid. The finish, not so much. But the biggest thing I take away from this, Jack, and please shout me down because you are the most positive beacon of information on this show, is that A-Kid, compared to Roderick Strong, did not get the hero's welcome I was expecting. Didn't get an entrance, didn't get a chance to pose in the ring. It was like, we're back from commercial. Go, go, go.
What a great way to debut, by the way. None of the pop and circumstance, none of the garbage and stuff that tries to influence people, but just get in the ring and get it done. And I love how you said that, he's in there with Kushida. And the thing with Kushida that people need to remember is he on SmackDown every week? No. Is he on Raw every week? No. He's on Level Up, as you mentioned. But Kushida is still one of the best to do the thing. And the fact that he got a match with Kushida, I think shows a lot of shows that WWE and NXT has high hopes for A-Kid, that he was in this match. And the fact that A-Kid got the win in this match shows just how talented he is. And the fact that this match now puts him on track to potentially go after the A champion. I think right now NXT and WWE know that they have a star on their hands and they are making a lane for him. And now it's just up to him to see if he can get over the finish line.
Does A-Kid work as A-Kid, or does he get a new name, a new presentation, a new theme song? Is that the reason why he get a theme this week?
I think that he'll want a new name, and I think that I know a lot of people who are fans of his are probably shaking their fist at me, saying, "How dare you change a name?" But I think A-Kid, it's hard to explain to someone who A-Kid is by just saying A-Kid. You should watch A-Kid on NXT. Right. Like, it's hard to no, A-Kid is the name. It becomes a weird conversation, and it's harder to say. Or the old saying, can you say their name as the world champion? And your new world champion, a kid.
That was very American of you. I appreciate it.
It would be a tough thing to deal with. I wouldn't like it, but I think they should pull the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, I'm with you. Shout out to Butch. Dylan Matthews says you can't have A-Kid and A champion be two different people. Facts.
Yeah.
Unless they are the same person.
Or unless Carmelo Hayes is the champion of A-Kid?
Our main event was actually LA Knight against Dolph Ziggler. LA Knight has the NXT faithful eating out the palm of his hands. It does feel like a different show when LA Knight's on stage, but much like his last match, on the losing end, this is not pretty good for the $1 million megastar, but you know what? Didn't look weak in defeat as well. Dolph Ziggler is rolling, and it seems that Braun Breaker, Dolph Ziggler will be a one-on-one contest at NXT Stand and Deliver.
LA Knight looked like an absolute star in the ring at the beginning of this show. He was in the ring. I was thinking to myself, you got LA Knight right now. He's standing in the ring with Robert Roode. He's standing in the ring with Dolph Ziggler. He's standing in the ring with The Miz. All guys who have been staples of quote-unquote main roster. And LA Knight looked like he belonged in there. He looked like he fit right in there with him. He did not look like someone who was trying to measure up to them. He looked like he just belonged with them. But I didn't like this. I don't like that he got a title shot. He just lost at Roadblock. Why is he getting a title shot? Why didn't Grayson Waller get a title shot here? I felt like Grayson Waller was robbed by LA Knight getting a title shot. And I think LA Knight's going to be punished for his sins because he lost this match. And now it looks like he may have Gunther looking at him. And that is going to be a rough couple weeks going from Waller to Ziggler to Gunther.
So if I was reading the results, I'd have totally agree with you. I'd be like, why does LA Knight get that shot? But then you think about everything you mentioned. Miz TV, first time on NXT. I mean, of course, it's a little different on the rainbow colored brand, but LA Knight crashes it. You have Gunther, who just fresh off his win of Sokoa with momentum, saying, hey, look, I don't like you. There's a bit of that walls closing in. So for this contained episode, I was on board. But yes, taking a step back, if there was master rankings on NXT, I'd be like, wait a minute. But Grayson Waller's kind of getting himself involved with the A Champions title and all that jazz.
It was a fun match. It was similar to, I like, not to go too far into American football, I like Baker Mayfield, right? He doesn't win all the games, but he's fun to watch. And so if he ended up in a Super Bowl, I wouldn't say he deserves to be there necessarily, but I'd be like, this is going to be a fun match, a fun game, because he's gonna throw the ball all over the place. Maybe I don't know what team will catch it, but he'll throw the.
I think you're probably right. Hey.
It'll probably be a fun game to watch. So I don't know why I'm taking shots at Baker.
The first ever pick 12, Dylan Matthews says. WWE has found the formula for NXT 2.0, and I'm here for it. Down South way.
And to Dylan's point, to our Australian correspondent's point, I agree.
I'm saying that. You have to pay him. If you keep saying correspondent,
I absolutely agree with him, especially this week where we open up with Miz TV and we open up with Dolph Ziggler and we open up with Robert Roode. And I'm like, man, we have some real stars here on NXT right now. And we have some real needle movers here right now. And it gave me that feeling like anything could happen. Anyone could show up. This is such a wild show. It's the exact opposite of long-term storytelling, which is fun in its own right. But this is just like, what's going to happen this week? And you see the stars showing up. You see this big beginning, and you could feel that even the audience was into it because they were cheering for the Miz, to the point that even Miz, you could tell there was a few moments where he's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. You guys love me. It was a fun opening to the show, and it felt like a big deal. And I'm with Dylan. I think that this is one of those shows, if you understand how to watch it, it's a really fun show.
Okay, I'm going to get off of the rails a little bit. Do you think this was intentional? Do you think this was the plan all along to have like this like summer camp Saturday morning kind of off-world thing where people can cross-pollinate, or something they found when they tried to make sure they had a formula down for 2.0?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think the whole point of NXT 2.0 is that they are trying things and they're going to throw stuff at a wall, see what sticks, and keep on throwing. And so I don't know if this was the plan to be this exactly, but I think that they went into it with the idea of we're going to try things until we find that groove, if that makes sense.
I'm with you. I think it's kind of a fun. Everyone, because NXT is so small and so intimate, everyone looks like a superstar when they roll through. In fact, I'm going to go out of order here just to underscore this. We had a match against Dominic Mysterio versus Raul Mendoza, but it happened backstage where there's a little bit of pleasantries that broke down where the second greatest luchador of all time, Rey Mysterio, got upset. He was number 2. Apparently threw his son to fight for him because Rey Mysterio does that. He's a heel. Legados picked Raul Mendoza, and we had ourselves a match. But this is the most fun I've ever seen Dominic. Question I have for you, Jack. Thoughts about, Mysterio being on the show. Thoughts about the match. And is Dominic Mysterio somebody who gets a bit too much flack that he deserves?
Yes, I think so. I think that what I really enjoyed about this is that you saw Dominic Mysterio, who is someone who has his whole career so far has been stuck with Rey on the outside or in the matches with him and hasn't had a chance to really grow into his own. And what I hope happens with this is I hope that Santos Escobar is able to get Dominic Mysterio to join Legado del Fantasma so that Dominic Mysterio can finally learn the true legacy of Lucha Libre from somebody by being with them. By having someone around them that truly understands what Lucha Libre is all about. I think Santos Escobar is that person. And I think that that is a place where in NXT 2.0, to what we were saying, trying things, this is where Dominic Mysterio can really find himself and really find a spot for himself in the history of Lucha Libre.
Question I was going to ask you that Dylan Matthews actually echoes, and I guess you are a correspondent today, but there's no check in the mail. It says Dominic in 2.0 after Mania, I think needs to happen. Now, I will say the match was great. I think there's some, I don't think Dominic's pretty much comfortable in his character, or at least his ring gear, but I do think it'd be a perfect opportunity or environment for him to really flourish and be his own man.
Yeah, like if he became like an intern for Legado del Fantasma, or like maybe helped carry their bags for a little bit. I think that that's one of those things that could really help him grow as long as he was around Legado del Fantasma.
Oh man, Dominic,
you know what? And maybe, you know, I don't know if this is something that Santos Escobar would consider, but maybe Rey Mysterio Jr. could learn a little bit underneath the learning tree of Santos Escobar.
All right, there's now time. I need you to give me the full bore here. You know, because I have to give you the props and credit. Because Tony D'Angelo calls out his opponent as Stand and Deliver. And last week on the show, I was like, who do you think, Jack? Huh? Pop quiz, hot shot. And Jack picked Tommaso Ciampa. I was like, Jack's crazy, but Jack was correct. Looks like Tony D'Angelo and Tommaso Ciampa are on a collision course. Tommaso Ciampa needs to regain a win after losing the NXT title and being pushed out the picture. And Tony D'Angelo needs a win after basically being defeated by Pete Dunne or Petey Poppins or whatever he calls him. It's a loser versus loser on paper, but this can shift the whole tide of NXT 2.0.
I was able to call this. I love to. I would love to brag about it. I'd love to be like, yeah, I told you so, but I've always said that I have a deep understanding of the way the streets work. You know, if you look at me, you can just tell I'm someone who understands these things. And so Tony D'Angelo and I, we think a lot alike. We have a lot of similar ideas and thought processes because of that. And so when he went after Tommaso Ciampa, it felt like the natural thing. It felt like it was supposed to happen. For a little bit, I was worried because Tony D'Angelo came in there respecting Tommaso Ciampa and shaking his hand. But then when he hit him in the yam bag with his knee, I knew that he was going to be okay. Not because I don't like Ciampa, but because Tony D needs to be ruthless. Tony D needs to be aggressive if he wants a chance of surviving Tommaso Ciampa. I think he will. I think he'll be the one to finally end the reign of the Blackheart here on NXT. And I think Tony D may become this generation's Tommaso Ciampa.
Whoa, that landed a lot harder than I thought it would be. That's kind of a cool thing to have. You know, Tony D'Angelo is one of the first characters to really find the landing spot in 2.0. Why not give him that title, right?
Yeah, and I want to give Tommaso Ciampa a little bit of credit here because, look, I'm a Tony D guy. You know, I all of us are. Tommaso Ciampa, I want to give him his flowers, though. I thought that it was a really nice promo he was cutting before Tony D came out, and I was thinking about it as I was watching this. Tommaso Ciampa is sort of that guy that was champion that heralded the end of the black and gold brand. and it will now help usher in that 2.0 brand. And I was thinking of a comparable for him, and I was thinking kind of like a Booker T. And he was that guy that sort of carried the flag for WCW through the end, and then he was one of the first guys. He actually was the first guy to compete in a match in WWE after the purchase. Sort of feel like there's a little bit of a comparable there between those two.
Wow, that's high praise. I'm with it. I'm totally with it. I'm done with that match. I think it's Tony D's time. If you really want, if Tony D needs to step up and not be just a guy who says, "I would have hit you, but I didn't." He has to make it happen at Stand and Deliver, which is shaping up to be a really cool show. Special start time for those of you interested, the Saturday of Mania Night 1, but it's during the day, 12 o'clock Eastern, basically like the Saudi Arabia times for pay-per-views. We get a little bit more of development on that tag team mystery, who attacked the Creed brothers, because not only is GYV and Malik Blade and Inoue were kind of backstage, on social media, the remnants of the Hurt Business is like, who could it be? So now I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you last week, Jack. Who attacked the Creeds?
Didn't Imperium say they did it?
No. They said they wouldn't do it. They would totally beat you in the ring.
Oh, well, what makes NXT 2.0 so fascinating then is that because MSKGAF, they have but what makes NXT UK or makes NXT 2.0 so fascinating right now is as you see the Miz showing up, as you see Dirty Dogs showing up, as you see the Mysterio showing up, it's easy to say, hey, who could it be? Is it Brooks and Jensen? Is it Imperium? Is it MSK? You can stop for a second and say, what if it's the Viking Raiders? What if it's the Street Profits? What if it could be anybody? It could be anyone under the umbrella of the WWE. What if it's Gallus Boys? It could be anybody.
I think it's Gallus. And the reason why I think it's Gallus is because they're kind of floundering here. And the Creeds, when they got beat up, so that we heard accents. And even though I would love it to be Cedric Alexander, I'm like, what accent? They're still American, right? So I'm thinking Gallus would be my choice, but they haven't been introduced yet. Even though if GYV is a culprit, that'd be kind of fun too to watch.
Do you think it would be less fun if it was someone that's already been teased? Because they teased that it could be GYV.
It'll be less fun than a brand new thing, yes. But if it was MSK, that would be the lamest answer. Because I don't believe, even if they had like weapons, that the MSK would be these guys like, hey, Shama, should we attack this guy in the parking lot? Yeah, sure, bro. Like, I don't see them doing that. But I think that'd be the lamest answer. That'd be the case.
I did, by the way, I didn't like something that MSK said. They said they deserved a title shot as much as the Creed brothers. I don't know why they think they deserve a title shot as much as the Creed brothers literally won a tournament to become the number one contenders and get a tag team title shot. I don't know why MSK, who lost that tournament, thinks that they have an equal right to a title shot. That seems silly to me.
If I had a bag of money, would you say, oh, not me, I don't deserve it?
If you gave me a bag of money to say that,
yeah. See, exactly. If I had a bag of money and say, hey, Jack, this could be yours, we go, oh, no, I don't deserve it. People work a lot harder than I do.
So you're saying MSK are a bunch of liars?
I mean, yeah, why not?
So they could have attacked the Creeds.
They could. It'd be really lame if they did, but they could.
I would love Gallus. Gallus is my fun pick. I would love to see happen. I think that would be a way to really bring that team back together. And I would love to see them just wrecking people on NXT 2.0. I'd love to see them wrecking Creed brothers on NXT 2.0. But I don't know. They said there's accents.
Yeah, it was accents. We lose accents.
They did say there's accents. Huh.
But moving on, as we figure that out, if you guys have an idea who you think would be, make sure you hit us up either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And please, 5 stars on Spotify or Apple. Greatly appreciated. Draped in Gold, drapedingold.com. North American Ladder title match qualifier, I guess. Santos Escobar defeated Cameron Grimes pretty handedly and decisively. Santos Escobar, one of Jack's favorites, is going to that match where I know he's going to excel because he had that ladder match with Jordan Devlin a year ago. But Cameron Grimes has all the sad feelings. What's going on with Cameron Grimes to the moon?
Something that's happened to a lot of people has happened to Cameron Grimes, and that is that being rich made him soft. He was on a roll. He got rich. He was still on a roll, but ever since then, it's been a slow decline. I think he's just allowed himself to get soft with all of his money.
Are you speaking of experience?
Oh, I'm not soft.
Tacoma Street champion. I'm so sorry I said anything disrespectful, sir. Please don't hurt
Tacoma
me.
Street Streets raised me.
Is that the one with the Walmart on the side? All right. So anyway, so Santos Escobar is going to face Carmelo Hayes at Stand and Deliver. I still think it's a folly for the A champion to say I'm going to have a 5-way ladder match to defend that title. But with Santos Escobar being in the matchup, that could be the biggest threat he has so far. So take that championship away from him.
Yeah, I think I'm a big believer in Carmelo Hayes. I think he's one of the greatest, but I think that he is someone that as soon as you put yourself in a match with Santos Escobar, you're risking it. That's a lot of risk in Santos Escobar could be anybody, anytime. So and now if you're going to add more people, that makes it even more risky. And when I look at some of the people who may potentially be joining that match, it could be a very tough thing.
Absolutely. I'm with that, but I still love when he goes, I am the A champion. That's really cool.
I don't count the score. I just keep scoring. What was that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't keep score. I don't keep score. I just keep scoring. That's a great line.
It should be on a t-shirt or at least like merchandise.
Yeah.
Final things before we get out of here. Indy Hartwell defeated Persia Pirotta in a very bizarre match. Bizarre for a bunch of reasons. One, Persia and Indy came out to the ring together, and Indy has the same confused look on her face that she's had for the past couple of months here. The match itself was notable because we got ourselves a decisive win, a roll-up there for Indy. But then Dexter Lumis and Duke Hudson gets involved. Look, man, I don't watch Australian soap operas, but things are crazy down under, Jack.
This is one of the saddest stories in all of NXT right now. The fact that you go back to Dexter and Indy getting together, and who was there at their wedding? Persia. Who was their biggest cheerleader? Persia. Yet then Persia finds love, and Indy just can't be happy for her friend.
It was her ex-boyfriend.
Jealousy just dripping all over her.
That was her ex.
So sad. She can't be supportive of her friend finding love. And by the way, Dexter showing his insecurities as well.
Yes,
suddenly
he was
showing up to see what's going on here. But I think it may have been a bad move for him because now he saw up close and personal that Duke is clearly a better kisser than he is.
Okay, that was cringe. But Duke Hudson was Indy's ex-boyfriend. He probably has a gambling poker addiction, and we saw that, man. He's not a good influence for her friend, her bestie.
A gambling poker addiction. He was playing cards, then he lost some money. So I need to stop. Hasn't been back since. Not a problem.
He had to shave. He got his head shaved and had that change of heart. I'm just saying, man. It was an intervention, if you need be.
It wasn't an intervention. No, he was like, you know what? I lost. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna. Plus, I think now that he has Persia in his life, now that he knows that he has love, he doesn't need to worry about poker anymore. He has something else. Unfortunately, he also has these bitter and sad exes that are stalking him. Have you ever had one of those exes that just won't leave you alone? That's Indy Hartwell. That's Indy Hartwell. She's commenting on all of his pictures and sending him messages and giving him the look all the time. Poor Duke. Poor Duke, just trying to move on with his life and find love.
I like how this storyline has totally replaced the whole Zion Coy Electra Lopez one for what I can care less about. But I'm in the minority here because apparently our chat loves it, and so does Jack. So I apologize.
Well, I just something I've always been consistent about is I like true love, and seeing it with Duke and Persia, I think is just an inspirational story for all of us.
And finally tonight, we had ourselves a match, quote unquote, Saray against Tiffany Stratton, where Tiffany Stratton attacked Saray before she had a chance to transform. And I swear to you, I wish I was making this up. What I saw was one of the most cringeworthy matches I've seen in a long time. One that made me feel absolutely yucky and icky. Jack, let me ask you this. Please tell me the silver lining of this is that Saray comes out with a third iteration of her character and not the fact that this is going to be a start of something of you beat me before I transformed. I need my revenge next week.
I really hate the narrative that Tiffany Stratton did anything wrong here.
What? She hit her from behind. That's all. That's hardly wrong.
So it's just so what you're saying is it's okay for Idris and Malik to attack waiters backstage, and
relatively speaking, yes.
You know, it's okay for people to attack the Creed brothers and take their title shots. It's okay for Kaylee Ray to attack Mandy Rose until she
what about his name?
It's okay for Cora Jade to attack Toxic Attraction until she gets what she wants. We're all okay with that, but then when Tiffany Stratton tries to defend herself from someone who was just rude to her when she offered to help her, I don't know what this is. I don't know why you're trying to twist the facts here. It's okay for some people to attack someone else from behind and do what they want. But when Tiffany Stratton tries to defend herself backstage, she's suddenly a villain.
When did I ever say it was okay?
Pick a side.
I'm on the same side. It's never okay to attack someone behind the head, and she didn't even transform, bro. That's not right. Imagine someone your day off comes here over your house and smacks you across the face. Come on, brother.
Well, why was it okay for Kaylee Ray to attack Mandy Rose before she transformed?
I never said
it was a title match.
I enjoyed watching it. I never said it was okay.
Why was it okay for Idris and Malik to attack those waiters before they transformed?
It was also cringeworthy, but those waiters do exactly what they can do.
Why was it okay for the person with the accent to attack the Creed brothers before they transformed?
It probably wasn't okay, but the Creed brothers deserved a little bit of roughing up for every once in a while because angry Creed brothers were awesome.
They were awesome.
Come on. All right, fine. All right, enough about that. But Tiffany Stratton seems to be the golden child, golden boy, golden girl.
You know, I think everything about her is gold except for the silver spoon. She is a play on words.
Oh man, let's go find out. But go ahead.
So, but I think she's great. I think she's a star. I think she's everything you want. I think that she's everything you're looking for from a competitor in NXT 2.0. And I mean, to the moon, as other rich people would say.
Well, anyway, I hope Saray's career gets well soon. But let's get into that finally today. The Cora Jade situation with Raquel Gonzalez on the shelf. Wasn't sure. I couldn't confirm the injury as being inside or outside the bubble of NXT 2.0. She did the whole Home Alone thing, got caught at the end of it. And now Cora Jade will challenge Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver. I feel like overnight this card has come out of nowhere, but does Cora Jade have what it takes to be the next NXT UK Women's Champion?
Well, I first want to hear you talk about how terrible of a person Cora Jade is for stealing titles and attacking Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, it was something I would not condone at all, but I didn't see a skateboard, so that's a plus.
So, yeah, I think we're both in agreement here that this is not the way business is done. This is not the way you're supposed to do things. Even the Wild Boar had the civility to go to Sid Scalia first. But
you like when Nina Samuels does it, though. When Nina does it, you're like, oh, that's great. Nina, you're so amazing.
Nina has never done wrong. I don't know where you're going with this.
The hell with you, man. She said nothing wrong.
I challenge you to tell me something she's done wrong.
How long's the show?
So, but look, she got what she wanted and she got what she deserved. Let me put it that way. She's getting the title match she wanted, but she got what she deserved, which was a beat down by Toxic Attraction.
Wow. And I guess at Stand and Deliver, you think that Mandy's going to retain?
I think Mandy's unstoppable. I think Toxic Attraction's unstoppable. They're definitely going to retain. All three of them. Not
even a chance of Cora Jade, man. That's cold, brother.
They are the new namesake of this program, Draped in Gold.
Yeah, right. Damn. I guess.
Yeah.
I hate when Jack's right. That's the worst part of the show. But it's time we have to get out of here, man. We got some things to do, things to accomplish. As I gotta give you guys a little bit of a news update next week. Like this week will be an hour later for the British summertime. But the week after, Jack and I will taking Draped and Gold on the road to Dallas, Texas for the most stupendous week of professional wrestling sports entertainment. Before we do all MVP, Jack. Let's get out of here. Who's MVP?
My MVP, it's got to be your boy Ashton Carter, Oliver Carter.
Okay,
Oliver Carter. Sorry, I messed it up. Oliver Carter. Oliver Carter's my MVP. I thought his showing was incredible. It was a fantastic match. It was an impressive match, and more importantly, it was an impressive win over an impressive competitor. I don't know how you top that.
I'm kind of in the same boat because I am totally not biased at all. And my boy makes sure they won against NXT UK's Triple Crown champion, my boy Oliver. Hopefully, Ashton gets to get 2 straight on Mustache Mountain. Whew. Dylan Matthews is right. It'd be the most stupendous weekend in Draped in Gold history. Also, shout out to the good folks on our sister show, the MacMania Podcast, Spotify original, presented by The Ringer, available Tuesdays, wherever you get your podcasts. But Jack Farmer.
By the way, real quick, for fans of the show, we had another chat with Andy Shepard on MacMania. So check out that chat on MacMania.
I'll say this a bunch of times. Andy Shepard got me that award, the video award. So props to that.
The championship.
He got me the championship, bro. He called a couple of favors. It was great. I had to go face the wild boar. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, check it out this week on the MacMania Podcast. It's been pretty cool. But yeah, man, Jack, if someone's to contact you directly, said, you know what, I want to book you for my events. I want you to ring announce my entrance into my promotion meeting at my job. How do they go about doing that?
You can follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. All the details are there. You can also check out Santino Brothers Return of the King, available on YouTube. And the United Wrestling Network Championship Wrestling is returning on March 22nd. We'll be recording there, and new episodes are coming. If you've been waiting, we're back, baby.
Yeah, well, drapedandgold.com. Website's right there. You can learn more about that. And please, if you're going to Dallas, say what's up, man. Just say what's going on.
Hello.
Yeah, man, say hello. Support the show. Really? You do that?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm full of myself. I'll take all the pictures.
Oh, okay. There you go. Now he admits it. Guys, you see that? Everyone left already. Before. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's it. Flobo Boys on social media, flobio.com, drapedandgold.com. Connect with us in the show in Dallas at the beginning of next month. It's still in the springtime. You know, I might do a little, a little something festive when I land there over in Dallas. But, Jack Farmer, until next time, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.